One. All right. Hello, everybody. To kick us off for day 3 of License-a-thon 2026, this is Indiana Jones in the Infernal Machine with the Kovic. Take it away. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize.
Yes, you did. Hello. Happy to be here showing off my favorite N64 game. It's a Tomb Raider, I don't want to say clone, but let's say uh, wannabe. And the N64 version is wonderfully broken, so I hope you are ready for lots of really strange, unusual glitches. And the run starts when I start the save file here. So, shall I give a countdown? In 3, 2, 1, snap. So this game takes place after World War II, and it catches Dr. Jones just hanging around in the American Southwest looking for some Native American relics. Uh, when he gets interrupted by his good friend Sophia Hapgood, who will land her helicopter on this plateau that I just slid off by, but we will not actually play the level as intended because immediately we have our first glitch. This is called the sun walk because it's like a moonwalk but in reverse by jumping repeatedly into that slope. And now if I climb on this block, I will get a sudden burst of speed when Indy starts falling down, and I want to use that to redirect up back up that plateau like this. And then I will hit the level end trigger right here, and a huge 3-minute cutscene starts, which gives us the gist of the story. It's kind of like Half-Life Test Chamber with regards to that. We start the run with a huge scripted sequence. Nothing that we can do about it other than learn to live with it, relax, enjoy, maybe go for a cup of coffee or something. Maybe I shouldn't talk into the story if you guys want to follow along. But I want to point out how impressive it is that this is an N64 game ported from a PC original, which released on 2 CDs, and this was all crammed down, compressed, optimized into a 32 megabyte cartridge with full voice acting.
Pretty impressive.
Now, because the tricks go pretty quickly at the start, I want to mention ahead of time that there's going to be a lot of going out of bounds in this game, and during those sections, uh, you'll see the classic Hall of Mirrors effect that you probably have seen in other games, where uh, as the camera goes out of bounds, the geometry that was previously rendered just sort of stays on screen and flickers a bit. So just in case that effect is not comfortable with you, I'll shout out when we go out of bounds, including at the start of the next level. And I want to explain what is going there in terms of the level layout. So to finish the level, I need to gather a statue, which is located in a, let's call it a temple. Indy calls it a library, and the library is conveniently located directly beneath the starting area. So what I will do is I will clip out of bounds and drop straight down to reach the library immediately, and I'll use the whip uh, because by swinging the whip it resets Indy's animation state and lets me avoid firstly avoid fall damage, and also, more importantly, it actually forces the game to load that section of the level in, because what this game does is it loads the levels. The levels are quite large, but it's loaded in dynamically on demand in little chunks called sectors. And swinging the whip, for some reason, for whatever reason, makes sure that the game actually loads the geometry in time. So I'll crawl here on this slope. I'm pressing the R button, which is the crawl key, and doing that moves me upwards slightly. And now I'll pull out the whip, and with a well-timed swing, I fall down. Okay, I'm a bit higher than would be optimal, but that's not an issue. I'll just go for a back up, jump on this button, and that opens this little crawl passage, and that's where the statue is hidden. I got bitten by a snake, but that's not a problem. We'll be done with the level before all my health runs out. So this is the statue, and now I need to go back to start. And to do that, I can use a glitch called an R warp. First, I need to run around for a bit. This makes sure that the item is saved to the cartridge, because EEPROM memory can be slow. And now I'll restore the save, but I'll hold the R button during the transition to black, and that spawns me back at the starting location. Now I'll do this crawl glitch again, but instead of going all the way out of bounds, I'll just rise a little bit, and then I'll stand up, and that gives me a burst of velocity, and I can use it to launch up to this platform. And this is where Agent Turner spawns, right next to this jeep. But for him to actually appear, I need to hit a trigger that is located partway through this elevator shaft, and I need to hit it rising up. So I take a death deliberately and do another R warp, but from this area, instead of the game attempts to put me at the start of the level, but it can't because I'm interrupted by this wall. And now I will keep pressing the R button to slowly rise upwards, hit the trigger, spawn Agent Turner, and then I can hit the level exit trigger to trigger the final cutscene and give him the statue in the cutscene. If he was not spawned in, if I tried to hit that trigger immediately, the game would soft lock, because his character model would not be loaded in at all. We're almost there. Just need about 2 meters higher. There used to be a lot more of this button mashing in the route, but all of that got outpaced by other strats. So this is the last bit still left in the run. Quite happy that we don't have to do this anymore. Okay, and hit the trigger here. That's the end of the second level. By the way, so that you can sort of keep up to date with the progress in this run, we have 16 levels in the story, but we will only play through 15 of them, and that's because level 13, King Sol's Mines, involves driving through a huge network of tunnels in a minecart, and the minecart moves pretty fast. So even with the 4 megabyte RAM expansion pack for the N64, the game kind of struggles to load all the sectors in time. So it's so performant, it's so performance intensive that if you play the game without the 4 megabyte expansion pack, and you play only with the base 4 megabyte memory of the base N64, the developers judge that level to be so demanding that they actually automatically skip it for you. which is pretty handy for a speedrun, because it just skips a level for free. And that's exactly what's going on here. So this is the version of the game, or this is the game running in the low memory mode, and that does mean lower resolution as well, and occasional extra performance dips, but it shakes out that playing in this uh, lower mode is faster than playing in the higher performance mode, but having to do that extra level.
Hey, Kovic. Whenever you get a second on a next cutscene or something, Tech is asking for you to check your capture card audio. The game audio or
Oh
something's like
yeah,
really quiet.
I cut out for some reason. I'll fix that. Just have to restart it in OBS. Now it should be back on. Sorry about that. All that lags comes in for this jump because Indy can struggle to grab this sledge sometimes, but worked out fine. Okay, this level is a pretty long one because we don't really have a major skip, unlike most other levels. The objective in this level is to first get the raft and then go down the river to collect 4 candles. And then place those candles on an altar. And that's the end of the level. So the raft is right here. I will take this safety med pack because I got hit pretty badly. Position myself in between the 2 lockers to pick up both items at the same time, and that lets me... Okay, just barely missed it, but it would have allowed me to interrupt this door cutscene. Okay, now that we have the raft, we can start our sailor career. I have a confession to make. This raft is terrible. So what we want to do is we want to avoid using it as much as possible. No can do for this introductory section, but for the rest of the level we'll be skipping portions of using the raft by using, I think, the iconic glitch of this speedrun, which is the flying glitch. The way it works is if you crawl into slopes or into certain surfaces on some of the 3D models, so not the level geometry, not the main world, but the independent 3D objects like boulders and rubble, things like that, Indy will fall down, which is usually not supposed to be possible in the crawl mode, and doing that puts him into a glitched state like this, and then if I press the A button, which is the jump button, he will get stuck on the Z axis, and now he's just floating in the air. Looks like he's riding a magical carpet, and we can fly. Now this state is very tricky and particular because it's very easy to completely get stuck, which then soft locks you in the game. You cannot even open the inventory and reload. You have to restart the console. And the way that works is when you press the jump key again to stop flying, you need to change height from where you took off, or you need Indy's head to be inside a wall. But since I flew from a slope, I can freely stop flying. I will take this death on purpose to respawn here. Another important thing about the flying glitch is that it's not very easy to stop flying and stop being crawled or crouched. And that's important because when you're crouched you cannot open the inventory and you cannot really interact with most stuff. So I had to take that death in order to pick up the first candle and now open the raft. Take a little bit on the boat here. I'll do a well-timed spin to avoid a boulder in the middle of this river fork because the raft has terrible collision geometry and it's really easy to get completely stuck in those boulders, which would force you to reload. Here we are in the second section. This is the piston area. This is where we find the second candle. You can notice that the fastest way to move is to keep jumping, but I actually stopped jumping there for a little bit to make sure that this part of the level has time to load in, because sometimes if you're jumping while the game is trying to load in new sectors, the game can crash. This game, particularly when you're not playing with the extra memory, is not really stable, so it's completely happy to crash, even on a console. Let's say most console games don't do this. The quality control, at least back in the day, used to be quite good. So they were mostly stable, functioning products. Not really this game. This game was kind of rushed to release before Christmas of 2000. Okay, here is the second candle. And now I mentioned we don't want to use the raft, so to avoid using the raft, we'll do some more flying here. Now I will make a safety save here, just in case. Okay, so now we're flying, but I took off from a completely flat stair, so I need to get my head stuck in this. Okay, that's what I was afraid of would happen, hence the safety save. So I need to restart the game and load back in. This is why the estimate is, I think, very friendly, because there's a couple of tricks which, if you mess up, they lose a lot of time, especially if it forces you to restart the game completely. We're more or less where we left off. That's because this game has a checkpoint system. You can save wherever you want, but you will only spawn back at the last checkpoint. Okay, unfortunately I messed it up again, so I think at this point it's better to just take the L and use the boat. Don't want to keep losing time here. So that means I need to backtrack in order to use the boat again. a little bit closer to the water. Big disadvantage of having to go with the boat route is now I need to make sure I dodge all those extremely dangerous sticky boulders. But at least gives me the opportunity to get some more safety, marathon safety HP with these healing plants.
Medicinal herbs. Some medicine.
Alright, and this is the intended way you get back up the river so that you can go down it and pick other paths through the water streams. So at least you'll see the intro section on a boat. I want to try to avoid hitting the walls. A quick 360 to avoid the boulder. And now I need to take a left here and then turn right on the next fork. And that's the optimal path to collect the other 2 candles. So this is exactly where I would land if I got the flight route from that piston area all the way up here, basically opposite the current of the river. Yeah, safety strats. Safety strats for the win.
A beeswax candle.
Okay, that's 3 out of 4, and the last one is not very far. It goes straight by boat. Boop. You can see parts of the level popping in. That's the sectors loading in on demand. A large hollow tree here, and that's where the 4th candle is. It's another area where I want to avoid jumping because it is possible to fall through the tree.
Another candle.
You sort of learn all these little things by experience from playing this game. I love this game, but technically it is quite janky, especially, well, particularly on N64, and particularly without the memory expansion. If you want to just play this game casually, absolutely play with the memory expansion. I would say it's almost mandatory. They could have made it actually mandatory like Donkey Kong 64, but I guess there was an incentive to not declare your game as requiring the expansion so that you can sell more copies. It's kind of like Perfect Dark. Technically doesn't require the expansion, but you really need it if you actually want to play Perfect Dark. Okay, there is the altar, and this is where I place the candles.
It fits. Success. There.
3 and 4.
Well, that ought to do it.
Now I just have to light them with the very convenient lighter. Has some pretty impressive dynamic lights for the N64, the lighter, but in broad daylight you can't really appreciate it. But yeah, this is the end of the level. This is by far the longest level in the game, so I think in terms of runtime we're a third of the way done, but we still have 12 levels to go. Some of them will zoom past in comparison. Now, where are we actually? So,
Strange place.
Indy came to Kazakhstan here, looking for the first part of the titular Infernal machine, and the road leads to this monastery. The next level is called Shambhala Sanctuary, and this is where we do find the first machine part in the dungeon all the way underneath the monastery, and that's where the first boss is. But we shall be skipping all of that with a very convenient flight path, and this will be the first instance of flying out of bounds. Flying out of bounds has a very useful attribute, which is the moment you touch out of bounds, all walls lose collision. So it's actually more of a struggle to get back in bounds in order to do something useful than it is to go anywhere.
This seems like a monastery.
So the plan is to
At least to me.
get the crawl glitch and then fly out of bounds, which is possible by just going to where the skybox is and then fly straight to the finish. So I'm glitched and I will fly behind this tower in the distance, and there is, because it's supposed to be out of view completely, there is a wall that's not textured. So far I'm still in bounds, so I still have collision, but as soon as I touch this sky here, I'm now out of bounds. And the dungeon is basically right here. Now, in order to land somewhere, there are very specific sectors where, for some reason, we're not sure why, it is possible to land. And now I dropped onto a platform that disappears, and that gave me the sunwalk, which is very convenient, because now I need to launch through an ice barrier in order to reach the end of the level. I will repeatedly stand up on this slope because I'm trying to clip into the wall. There we go. Okay, and now I will line up perpendicular with the wall, and by mashing R I'll go deeper in this direction, which is the direction of the slope. Okay, now in front of the barrier, hold forward, and yes, I did get collision loaded back in. So I landed in this corridor, and this button triggers the final cutscene, completely skipping the boss. And also the machine part, but thankfully, in case we ever need it,
Here,
the game
this
actually
belongs to you.
gives all the mandatory story items to you in the next level.
You have found part of something terrible.
So even though we actually never collect any machine part,
There's supposed to be more of these things.
we'll have them available.
His companion Takli journeyed onward to the east.
This lovely lady is the priestess of this temple, and
Are you talking about the Pacific? That's a wide stretch of water.
Look for a tropical island among many others. where
she
men
gives us
lived
direction
for eons
to the next part.
uncounted. They call it Palawan, I believe. Follow this path.
Oh yeah, I never explicitly explained that all these in-engine cutscenes are not skippable, which is why we're watching them. Used to unfortunately be very common in old games that cutscenes are not skippable, because all the scripts that are used to create the cutscene, they actually move the actual character in the level and just mutate the level in various ways. So it would be technically more complex to implement it to make it possible to skip them.
Paradise on Earth. Hard to believe anyone living here would sign up for the trouble.
Anyways, welcome to the Philippines.
Unless somebody or something lured them into it.
At the start of this level, we need to collect a very important item, which is the machete.
Looks like
The
this
machete
place used to be
allows me
inhabited.
to cut through
By cavemen.
vines and cobwebs. It's kind of funny that a lot of this run is spent utterly glitching through walls and stuff, but a cobweb is a complete stopper for me here. I'll take a death here on purpose to respawn at the start of the level, because I keep the machete in my inventory after respawning. And the cobweb is right here.
Something's in there.
And in this area, on a platform above, is a totem with a button, and that button opens the exit to the level. But I can start crawling on this polygon and then go a bit downwards onto a different polygon. And now if I put Indy's face into the rock here, mesh R a little bit, and then stand up, I will get a burst of velocity, and I can launch myself up to this platform and press the button immediately. The intended route through the level would be basically a huge detour in order to end up back here. And I believe this was the second skip we ever found for this game on N64, and it's remained optimal ever since, this route. Optimal for real-time speedruns, I should add, because there is a task strat that is even faster. By the way, if you want to see this game broken to the next level with tool assisted, then there is a tool assisted speedrun on task videos done by Bovice, which completes the game in 46 minutes. It is pretty epic.
Kind of warm in here. The volcano can't still be active, can it?
Alright, at the start of this level, we'll see some actual normal gameplay, because can't really employ any glitches here in the starting area, but we will be seeing a major skip. Which will be the first instance of out-of-bounds launching. You've seen me launch twice before, in Babylon and then in the previous level, but that was just a very short-range launch up one slope, but the same mechanic can be used to launch across an entire level if, before launching, you make sure to lose collision with the level geometry. One disadvantage of those tricks is that they are really precise, because you move at roughly Mach 10 speed across the entire level, and you also need to make sure to land safely to load the level back.
Active, all right.
Load the level collision back in, and in time for you to land. So for the real-time speedruns, I've had a lot of effort trying to come up with ways to make these tricks more consistent. Because for an individual level run, you can just grind hundreds and hundreds of attempts in order to get the perfect launch, but that's not really viable for full game runs. But this launch is pretty doable because we have a slope here that we can use to get Sunwalk first. That's the glitch from the first level. And in the Sunwalk state, you actually have the ability to control Indy mid-air during the launch. Without Sunwalk, he just goes forward like a projectile, and you have no control over him. But with the Sunwalk, I can line myself up with the border between the floor and the wall there, and then mesh R until I'm looking directly at the corner. I'll launch forward, release the stick. Ooh, I overshot. Make a save point and reload to respawn at the checkpoint, and the checkpoint is very conveniently right here, which allows to retry that skip pretty efficiently. Okay, get Sunwalk again. I can tell that Sunwalk is active because the crawling animation of Indy is broken. It just slides on the floor instead of actually crawling. Okay, stand up, then crawl again to lose collision. Line up. This is a massive skip. I should really mention. Skips like 15 minutes. Okay, nearly there. Ooh, I pulled just a little bit too much on the stick. That was very unfortunate. Okay, third time is the charm. That platform with the large door is where I'm trying to land. That's the level exit. I need Indy's head to be in the wall like that. Okay, get him angled. There we go. Stand up and crawl again to lose collision. Line up. Oh man, I fell through the floor. I wanted to take it more slowly, and I actually didn't land. Didn't reach above the platform in time until I hit the wall. So I was not able to actually land on there. Okay, one more time. Sega, do you have anything interesting to say in the meantime?
Not at the moment, but just to remind everybody that we're raising money for the Transgender Law Center, and we have those new incentives that opened today. That if we had $1,300 in donations, we will get the Toy Story 2 bingo. And then I believe if we hit the 1,500, we get the glitch exhibition for Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. So
Okay,
I think we can
unexpected
totally do
development
that.
here is that I landed on an earlier platform than the one I was actually shooting for, but that's not an issue. We can still exit the level from here. I just need to first push this block, and to do that I need to do this weapon swap glitch, which makes that when the block is being moved, Indy does not move with it, because if I did that, the game would crash on real hardware. It does not do this on any emulator, but on real hardware it would crash. But with this glitch I am able to push the block without crashing. And now I can land. I can also make a save. I think that's sensible. I can jump on this cable and now walk to that platform. Gotta take it safely and slowly. So this is Indy in his circus era, doing some rope walking. Okay, here we are. And that's the end of the level. Okay, got there in the end. Alright, now going into the next level, I will hold R before the cutscene starts. And that's doing something gonna call cutscene pre-input. In some levels, before the cutscene starts, you can actually move Indy. So for this level, I'm holding R to make him crawl. You can see he's actually crawling for a second before the cutscene script takes over. And during the cutscene, he falls down from that ledge. He jumps down from that ledge. But because he was technically crawling, that meant he fell while crawling. So I am able to start this level with the flying glitch, which is amazing because now I can fly straight to the end, all the way from the beginning. But it's not that simple because we're sort of in a claustrophobic temple here, so we need to go through a wide selection of polygons in order to worm our way out of here. So I want to land on this platform now, and from here I will fly to this bit of rubble over here, and this polygon is the golden ticket, which orients me in a way that I can reach this little hole that leads all the way up to the sky. And as you might know from 3 levels ago, if I touch the skybox, I unload all collision, and now I can fly straight to the finish. There we go, there's the actual inbound area. Of course, to do this you need to know, at least roughly, the level layout so that you don't get lost in the infinite void that is out of bounds. Okay, and now to land, there is a very, very specific polygon that loads the collision back in. If I landed 1 meter to the left, I would just fall straight through the floor and I would have to retry. Okay, and this is the level exit. I just need to make sure to press A to stop flying before I enter the actual trigger that exits the level. Because if you hit any cutscene trigger while flying, you soft lock. Indy gets stuck. Alright, now this is level 8, Jeep track, and this is the gimmick level. Because we get to drive a Jeep here.
Turner! Where is everybody?
This Jeep can drive fast and is really good at driving up slopes. First, I'll take a medkit and I will take this
Look what I found.
treasure, these golden coins. You can use the
A Jeep.
treasure to
Let's
buy
see if this thing
equipment
still
between levels. You may have noticed that screen, but so far I didn't collect any, but I want to collect $100 during this level. Yeah, I was able to drive the Jeep out of bounds, and conveniently below the starting area is this cavern, which is about halfway through the level. Now I need to make sure to gather speed, because we'll do some wall riding here. If I didn't have enough speed, the Jeep would slide down. Okay, and now up here and through this cavern, and there is just the maze section. Thankfully I know the route. Turn left. Right, and then right again. Left from the waterfall, and then it's a pretty straight line to the finish. But I'll just make a quick pit stop here. I'll run over this Russian soldier because I want to loot his submachine gun for a later fight. And in order to make sure that the machine gun is safe to the cartridge ram, I will also get the treasure that I want to get anyway. But for some reason, collecting treasure... Well, I know the reason, because unlike all the other items, which respawn if you were to play the level again, the treasures don't respawn. You can only collect them once per profile, so they have a higher priority to save to the cartridge EEPROM. So collecting the treasure ensures that the machine gun I collected a couple seconds earlier actually gets saved to the cartridge save memory without me going into the menu and saving manually myself.
Mexico.
Built by some Babylonian priest. Azurim, I think.
Azurim.
And you might just get a jump on our friends. They're traveling by...
And yeah, we completely skipped collecting the second machine part. But Sofia, who picked us up, tells us that the Russians gave up anyway, and now they're looking in Mexico. And I spent the $100 on another magazine for the submachine gun. And that's going to be 40 bullets, which is enough for the boss
Teotihuacan.
later.
Pyramid of the Sun. Except it's not too sunny in here.
Some of those nice lighter effects. Okay. This is one of the shorter levels in the game. And we will be skipping the level with a new trick, which is called Hang Unload. When you fly, you can still grab onto a ledge And if you then let go of the ledge with the B button and immediately strafe, you will lose collision, but only a little bit. You don't lose collision with normal level geometry, but you will lose collision with 3D objects, and that includes this door, that door right here, which is the exit door. So I want to crawl in this exact spot to get the crawl glitch, start flying, and I will grab this column. Am I crawling sideways? Yes. And now I can just zoop straight through the door, fall down, and hit the level exit. On to Olmec Valley. I will start this level with a pre-input of Z forwards and jump to make Indy jump at the start of the cutscene, and that just lets me avoid having to climb down this large cliff face, because Indy doesn't take any damage during cutscenes, so no fall damage. And now I will crawl into this boulder to get the crawl glitch, and this is another one of those levels where we fly straight to the end. Just need to find the right polygon, which is right here. That looks pretty good. Now the tricky part about this level is that the exit trigger is really tiny, and it's inside a wall. Basically we'll be flying towards a pyramid in a valley, a Mayan pyramid, I presume. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to enter the pyramid from above, fight a boss, and then after defeating the boss, a portion of the wall explodes and lets you out. And the exit trigger is just in that quote-unquote door frame inside that wall, and that's where I need to land. So it's a small strip. So I will... Got it. Nice. And if you missed it, you need to reload a checkpoint and fly all the way again, which is like 90 seconds or maybe 100 seconds of time for every attempt. So this is not a difficult trick, but it's always nerve-wracking, at least for me. But we got that spot on. So they skipped getting the third machine part, so we're supposed to have 3 now, although we're supposed to have 0 now in the story, because we got captured by the Russians and their leader, the fat guy, Volodnikov. So now we need to get our stuff back and escape. Out of those 2 goals, we'll only do the latter one, because like I mentioned, the game actually always gives you the items you need when you move between levels. So we don't need to collect the machine parts, but we do need to escape. First, to get out of our cell here, we need to do a little bamboozle. Knock on the door and then hide in the ventilation shaft. And then when the soldier comes, he's gonna be looking for Indy. Oh, where did he go? And we lock him inside. Alright, now in this next room, there is a soldier, and when he spots you, he's supposed to knock you out and teleport you back into your cell. But if you just keep jumping, he cannot see you. That's a glitch only on the N64 version. And another glitch is that when you keep running into this door, it never closes. And when it's never closed, you don't need to press the button to open the door from the inside of this room, and that skips a cutscene. Okay, we got back our regular gear. And now I said we don't need to collect the machine parts, but we do need to pick up one, which is the part that has the ability to break down weakened walls, because there is one wall that we need to destroy in order to finish the level. In the PC version, this is the one level that's faster on the PC version than the N64 version. The PC version, otherwise, doesn't have all these game-breaking glitches, so the speedrun ends up being much more normal, and it's about 3 hours long. But this one level is faster on PC because there is a trick to press buttons from behind a wall, which lets you open every locked door, basically. But due to the collision system differences in the N64 version, this trick is not possible on N64, so we need to break down that wall in order to get down here into the machine room. And I will jump on top of this button and from here aim to this box, and I want to grab the edge of the box. And with the jump, grab the upper ledge here. You're supposed to complete a puzzle in order to get up here, but this skips that. And now we go through the engine room and climb into the room with the wheel that lets us lower the escape boat, which is the winning condition for this level. And this section is the reason why I've been collecting that safety healing, because there are two Russians with submachine guns here, and if you get unlucky with their aim, they can absolutely destroy you. But so far, so good. Okay, got through there pretty unharmed. That was the wheel, and this is where we use the wheel to exit the level. Now we skipped a cutscene in this level that gives Indy the next goal, where to look for the next part, and that's in the pyramids of Meroe in Sudan. And that's the end game of this game, basically. And that's the part where the developers ran out of time while making this N64 port, and you can tell that because the frame rate gets drastically lower compared to the earlier sections. So brace yourselves for some rough frame rates. But on a more positive note, this level does feature another huge skip. Normally this is a pretty open level. You can see there's 4 pyramids, and you need to enter each of the pyramids, and through various, platforms and trials and puzzles, reach the top of it and light a fire there. And lighting 4 fires will open the door that leads into the King Solomon's mine, which is the next level.
More like wishful thinking incorporated, if you ask me.
So we'll go to where the door is, and conveniently next to the door or next to the entrance, I should say, is a bit of rubble right here. And crawling into the rubble gives me crawl glitch. And I can use that to go out of bounds. And once I'm out of bounds, I can go straight to the exit. Just shot those hyenas first because they deal a lot of damage, so they could easily chase me down and kill me. But this is the polygon I'm looking for. And now I will fly towards the sky in this direction. Right here. Do a little loop. And now the collision is unloaded. Even Indy stops rendering. This is the door towards the mines. And normally you're supposed to repair the minecart as well. But the exit trigger is actually just located at the end of this shaft. Just need to time my release well so that I don't fall through the floor. And then I will keep going forwards into the darkness until I hit the exit trigger. And there we go, level complete. Okay, and now the next level, King Soul's Mines. This is the level I mentioned earlier, which is too demanding for the console without the memory expansion pack. So the level starts, but it will fade to black immediately, and the level will be skipped automatically. You could see that even during that 5-second excerpt, the frame rate was really bad. So we go straight into level 14, Nub's Tomb. And in this level, we'll be doing another hang unload in order to fly straight to the exit. This is a newer route for this level that I came up with in order to avoid doing an earlier launch route, which was very unreliable. I would say certainly would not be marathon friendly for sure. But instead, using flying is much more consistent and reliable. So I will fly through this wall, and I'm going forwards and upwards until I reach the exit area. The only tricky part now is to fall down to the floor and not fall through the floor, but we got it first try. So we go straight into the exit trigger, and now we watch a little
Is that
cutscene.
you?
More or less.
Are you all right?
I am one hurtin' archaeologist, but I'll live.
Oh, good. Hand up those machine parts you've collected, and we'll get you out of there. Indy?
Who's we?
Come on, Jones. We need those parts. Don't you love your country? In the name of the United States
In the meantime,
of
this is a good
America,
time to
man.
stay
We
hydrated.
don't know.
Don't trust your fellow Americans, eh? Now you know how we Ruskia feel. In the name of Soyuz Sovietskих Socialistических Республик.
Give me the parts, Jones. He's a commie.
The parts will be safer with me, Doctor. Your friend is a gangster.
What a choice.
Sorry, Indy. And thanks.
So it turns out we've been bamboozled, and they took all our machine parts that we so meticulously, for sure, collected during this game.
Those ignorant fools know nothing of Babel, but I have studied. And I know that beneath the foundations of the tower, the cause of all the biblical turmoil waits to complete his designs on mankind.
Who? What are you yammering about?
The Lord Marduk himself crossed over from the Ethereum to inspire the Babylonian priests. And Marduk, potent and malevolent to this day, will have his miest on those who desecrated the great machine. Luckily, you and I are professors at heart, too wise to become so easily ensnared, and too timid. Back to our tea and books now, eh?
Alright, only 2 levels to go. The next level is called The Machine, which is the titular Infernal machine. So we go after Turner and we're looking to get those machine parts back. And while doing that, we're sort of gonna repair the machine and see what happens.
Sophia, Turner.
Surely
Yeah,
nothing
you're
bad
all right. Where are they now?
could happen in an Indiana Jones story like this, when you meddle with ancient powers. Surely. The important thing about this level is that this, apart from the river, this is the other level where we don't really have massive skips. The only one is at the start here. I'm gonna press this button while I have the lighter equipped and save the game. And now when I reload, I will appear at a later checkpoint. This is a checkpoint after a really long cutscene that I skip by doing this. So that was a big skip in terms of time, but not really in terms of content. The thing is, we will have to go through this level more or less how it was intended, and that's because the scripting for this level is bulletproof. We really looked
The inscription reads, "Verily will I shake
and
thee
tried to
earth."
find
Uh-oh.
ways to
Turns
sequence
out the
break
wrong
this,
part in
but it's not really possible.
The inscription reads, "Verily will I shake the earth."
So that means we have to go through everything and collect all the parts. This is Ethereum, and it's an energy from another dimension, and we can sort of float in it. Okay, I got lost there for a second. I had to check which way to go. This way. Alright, we already got part number 1. Here is part number 2. I'm gonna keep the B button held during the cutscene. Try and get a trick where I can move during the cutscene. And then when the cutscene ends, it warps me to my previous orientation, which lets me grab this ledge slightly earlier. This is a small trick, but neat nonetheless. Okay, now we have some platforming to do. While being assaulted by these little flying drones. Now up this ladder will be the third part. And this is the first time when we already have in our inventory the part that is supposed to be here. The thing is that Turner placed these parts around, but he messed up because he can't read Sumerian. We need to collect the parts and put the right one in order to proceed. The lift activates automatically and takes us back to where we collected the first part. And we put in this slot the one that we collected from the previous socket.
What do you know? It worked.
And now all the elevators, or rather all the buttons controlling the elevators, are functional again. And that means that we can fall into the main chamber and use this elevator right here. There is this little poison beetle. Oops. Ran into the button socket. That's never happened before. Classic Marathon line. Okay, coming up is the fight that I've been saving the submachine gun for. And it's a fight with Agent Turner,
Turner, you've got the part I need. Hand it over.
who kept the
Can't do that.
machine part that turns you invisible.
Come on. It's our only chance to save Sophia.
So this fight
Fool me,
is
Jones. Once you start
pretty
firing,
RNG,
you'll use the machine to take over.
because
That's your
he can
The world
appear
sees
all
nothing
over the
but
place, or he can not appear at all.
You'll never get away
But
with
by standing still, I will manipulate the RNG, and hopefully, yeah, he appears right next to me. And with the machine gun, I can burst him down before he has the opportunity to disappear again. So I get a 1 cycle. This is Azarim's part. It lets you levitate when you're above those little platforms with the butterfly symbol. Here, I'm gonna press this button while I'm invisible so that the electricity ball doesn't smite me. And look, a robot head and a very late texture pop in.
That's me, I guess. Indiana Jones.
Make me whole, Master, that I may obey your wishes.
You might be getting across the
Description reads,
vibe change in the game,
man to new heights.
because
Turner fouled up again.
in this penultimate and particularly in the final level, we go a little bit Ancient Aliens here. Oh yeah, this is Sophia. She's floating in this energy cage where Turner pushed her in during the cutscene that we skipped with that checkpoint trick. And I guess Indy is activating the machine because he's trying to get her out of there, but it's not really gonna go the way he thinks it is. This is where the head belongs, and this cutscene is slightly broken on N64. The camera is pointing completely in the wrong direction, so it looks a little wonky. It's just like this. It's not even broken because of speedrun shenanigans. This is just how it's shipped. I mentioned that the port, the N64 port, got a little rushed towards the end and lacks that little bit of polish. This is a symptom of that. Alright, final part. And activating this machine. Exits the level. So now we have just the final level left. The Ethereum.
Joe, stop! Are you crazy?
And this level,
Done.
it's a bit unfortunate for the speedrun, but the final level is a big run killer, because the trick to skip it completely is particularly unreliable, and I've been trying to search for ways to make it more reliable. The current route is the best I got, but it's still not completely perfect. So I hope I'll get it first try, but we'll see. But first, to start off, I'll do another cutscene pre-input with forward Z and A being the jump, so that when Indy falls during this cutscene, uh, when the initial scripted fall ends, the pre-input happens, which is this little forward jump,
More
and
machinery.
that lets
The
me
whole
land
place is a
here
machine.
and avoid the lower section of this level completely. And now, to do the big skip, I need to swim upwards in this energy shaft towards the boss chamber, where Marduk, the ancient Babylonian god, is waiting here in Ethereum, the otherworldly different dimension that we traveled to with the portal at the end of the last level. But we will not fight him at all. We just need this room.
Marduk. You're one of those angry gods, I'll bet. Ugly, too.
Welcome to the Ethereum, mortal.
Specifically, we'll go to the upper floor here, and that's because there are those slopes that you could see in the cutscene as well. In the slide it down one of those slopes. So I will crawl into them. Actually, first off, I'll make a safety save. So I'll crawl into this slope to get the crawl glitch. Now, we're trying to lose collision. Now, usually there are deterministic ways to lose collision, but that's not the case in this final level. Oh, nice! So this final level runs so terribly that in this room you can sometimes just lose collision because the game doesn't load the next sector next to where you are literally currently standing in time. So you are out of bounds for like a split second, but that's enough. So now with this flying, I can go in this direction and fly straight towards the end of the level. And now the reason why this is inconsistent, apart from the non-deterministic way to lose collision, is that landing here is really rough. It is really, really inconsistent to actually land and gain collision again. Ah! Yeah, it's just not reliable at all, whether you land on the floor safely or whether you fall through. In all other levels, as long as your position is precise, you are safe. But in here, it's just not reliable at all. So that was unfortunate. Oh, bad camera. But that's what I'm going for. Oh man, we got stuck. Need to reboot. Good thing I got that safety save. Okay, I hope we'll get it on the next try, so you can stay underestimate. We're very close. Very close before the end. It's really unfortunate that you're also getting shot at by Marduk. So you can't really take your time, set it up nice and slowly. because you need to not die. And I'm killing this enemy so that I don't get poisoned. Right. To get out of the pit. By rubbing against it. Come on, before he kills me. Come on. Am I gonna die? No. Okay. Yes. Another fortunate unload, so now only land on the floor, please. Pretty please. Okay, perfect lineup. Health is a bit rough. Ah, man. All we need is to land there for the collision to bless us. And then we can just go into the exit trigger, which is right next to it, basically. Get out of the pit, come on. Okay, they didn't get lucky with the collision loss this time. There we go. Okay, pray for the floor. Not quite my lineup. There we go. That should be it. Okay. I could try landing in another place. There's a bunch of them. All of them suck. Okay, we got this one. Nice. Nice. Okay, good pivot. Okay, now I will slide down this slope and press A while doing that. And that gives me this strange flight, but it's exactly what I need to get height and to hit the exit trigger right here. And this is time. Sorry, I didn't call it in advance. I was... Oh, I was too worried, but we got it. This is the end. This is the final cutscene, and this is where the run officially ends.
That's a relief. As you know, socialist theory
GG.
disavows the existence of supernatural powers.
And
GG.
you expect to win the Cold War.
I expect a long struggle.
Alright, thanks for having me for this run. I'll let the cutscene play and we'll get the final credits with the Indiana Jones theme and all that good stuff. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you donate for the good cause and enjoy the rest of day 3.